Good afternoon, Coronians. Welcome to the June video event for our featured employee of the month. We're actually got a superstar from our new organization, Revenue Guard, which Coronis acquired 2 months ago, based in the great state of New Jersey. Steve Loures is one of the co-founders of Revenue Guard and the president of Coronis EMS division. Steve, welcome to the team.
Simon, thank you for the intro. And I don't know about the superstar. I'm just a regular guy from New Jersey. Let me tell you about the revenue cycle business, but let me start with a little history. Actually, my brothers and I started an ambulance company out of the driveway of my parents' house, if you can believe that, 1983. My brother and partner, Jim, was a local volunteer. He noticed ambulances transporting people out of the ER and the light bulb went off. Well, one ambulance turned into 2 ambulances, turned into 3, and then the neighbors were obviously complaining as we're running a small, ambulance company out of the driveway. In fact, we took a picture when they just started the company. That's my brother Jim and Gary, and I took the picture. I was a little younger, but it was a great start. And a lot of people like to know how companies start, right? So there really was a driveway and an ambulance, and there it is. I won't bore you with any more pictures going down memory lane, but I do have one that is cool. So one thing led to another, started growing the business, started to expand. I became a paramedic at the age of 20 in New Jersey, branched off the company a little bit to do that. In fact, at 20 years old in New Jersey, I could defibrillate, put in a chest tube and intubate, but they wouldn't let me get a beer. So we got into this stuff really young. Anyhow, we built the business. We kept on growing. We became the largest ambulance company in New York. We also had a 5-borough New York license, and we did some work in Pennsylvania. And at the end of that business, we had over 350 employees. I was the GM. And about 100 total vehicles, about 85 ambulances. But what was really cool about it, what I like, is I went to Embry-Riddle and graduated as a commercial pilot, and we also had an air ambulance division. Yes, the skinny guy and the skinnier than I am now in the pilot uniform is me, and that was on an actual case. Our air ambulance division flew all over the country. We also brokered out some trips, but I flew 421, Learjet 25 and 35 series, loved it. Still a pilot today, not flying as much, but loved it. Anyhow, fast forward, we sold that company to a NASDAQ roll-up. It was called Rural Metro. There was AMR and Rural Metro back then, and we had a great run with them. Grew the company for 5-6 years, and then they didn't pay attention to Main Street. They only cared about Wall Street, and they blew up the AR. So full circle, we were always experts in the revenue cycle part of the business, which leads me to Revenue Guard, where we're going. In fact, we were the last company that was integrated with Rural Metro, but we were experts in the billing, really. So in 2006, we started Revenue Guard. We took over the market. We grew exponentially in New Jersey. We service hospitals. We do most of the hospital systems, all the big cities. We have about 60 customers in New Jersey, but our big hospitals are really, really where we shine. So when we were thinking about doing a merger, we were also thinking about rolling up some other companies. We interviewed quite a few. In fact, there were 12 that wanted to buy Revenue Guard, and we narrowed it down to about 3. But what struck me with Coronis was really Stephen Grubbs from the beginning. He wanted to partner with us. We were kind of the base station, right? We were kind of the foundation of a new service group. And I like that because I didn't want to leave the business. I've been doing this my whole life. I'm not an ambulance chaser, but I've been around ambulances since I was 18 years old. And I don't want to leave the business, but we wanted a little change here. So that's really what struck me with Coronis. He was one of really maybe one other company, but he from the start just wanted to partner with really me, I think. He realized the great experience we had, really, because we're industry experts, not just revenue cycle side, right? So that's a big bridge in our business. And we're about 2 months in, and everything's going well. It's exceeded my expectations. And I believe that there's a potential national effort. We needed Coronis to do that, right? We wanted to take their expertise. We want same store growth. We want to grow organically here. You never want to stop doing that as business folks, right? But there's some potential acquisitions that will be a nice kind of bolt on to our foundation. And we have a great foundation. So you can build on this house here. So it was a great fit. And really, Stephen Grubbs made that happen. And he was clear in that vision. So I appreciate that. So
that's great to hear that. Stephen Grubbs is quite the visionary. So
he is. And dealing with Simon as well. He really sees this other part of the business where growth and opportunities. And I'm happy. I'm happy as a business owner, entrepreneur, and an industry guy. I believe we made the right move for not only us, but for Coronis, right? We're not the type of guys that would just sell a company and, pack it up and go to Florida or somewhere. So I'm happy about the outcome, and I'm looking forward to the future's bright. And I'm happy to even be on this video. I'm not used to talking about myself, but Simon asked me to do it, so here we are.
Great job, man. Absolutely fantastic. I tell you what, you've answered all the questions, which is fantastic. So could you tell some of the folks out in Coronis land maybe a fun fact that people may not know about yet?
Well, fun fact, I've done quite a few fun things. I've flown a lot of people, right? When we had the air ambulance division, the charter side of that would borrow me from time to time. So I flew JFK Jr., I flew Aerosmith before, and a lot of other famous people. But I did like flying JFK Jr., and I'll tell you why. He was going through flight training at the time. So as we were flying him to where he was going, he would pop up in between. It was actually me as the captain and the co-pilot, and start talking to us as pilots. And I think he loved that because he didn't have to be
JFK Jr.
He's a famous person in society. And all we did was talk about aviation. I had another funny story. I was a young co-pilot on a Learjet, and I'm getting a cup of coffee before a flight. And next to me is Harrison Ford. So I do a double take, right? So obviously when you're in that environment, you really don't say anything. You're surely not asking for autographs. You'll be fired the next day, right? So anyhow, he asked me what I was flying. I said, oh, I'm flying the old Lear 25. He goes, oh, that's a rocket. He goes, I have a Lear 55, Steve. If you'd like to go talk to the captain, go right ahead. Now, I was pretty new back then, so I called my boss, and I said, Harrison Ford asked me to go see his Learjet 35. Should I do it? And his answer was, if Harrison Ford wants you to see his plane, go see his plane. So anyhow, it was a funny story for me. And sure enough, he was a great pilot and a great guy. So I've been able to see some famous people in their aviation side of them. And they're like, just like you and I, regular folks, really nice. So there's two little stories.
Steve Loures, welcome to the team. We are very, very excited to have you leading the EMS division for Coronis. You bring a lot of energy, insight, and hard work ethic, which is exactly what we're looking for when we bring an organization in. Congratulations on making a great decision. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Simon. It's my pleasure.